Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this video, we are going to be looking at my list of the top 10 action figures for 2021. Now, as I always say every year, these lists are very subjective. I try to make it as objective as possible, factoring in price and quality, accessories, all of the things I normally include in a review, but obviously there's a ton of figures every year, and I have to weigh in somehow with subjectivity, so everybody's list is going to be different. If you guys want to list down below which figures you think were the best figures of the year, please do that. We'll talk about that in the comment section below. But I'm going to go ahead and do this. Again, this list could change from day to day. If I was making it tomorrow, it might be different. But this is what I came up with today, based on price, based on quality, based on all the things I normally consider. These are the top 10 figures for 2021. We are going to start the list with an honorable mention, which is technically actually two different figures. This is the repaint of Super Shredder, which is a figure that came out originally last year. However, this new repaint did come out this year, so I'm including it because it is that good of a figure, and it does have a different cape and a different paint job, obviously. A few different details on the belt and that kind of thing. This Super Shredder that NECA made is one of the most fun figures I have ever owned, so as long as they keep repainting them and re-releasing them, I'm going to keep talking about how good they are. They haven't screwed anything up yet. This is the 30th anniversary edition. It's got that purpley outfit, and then he's got the beetle shell kind of cape. Very cool looking, and then we do also have the Shadow Master version, which I think is the pinnacle of Super Shredder figures. I love this thing. If you guys haven't tracked any of these versions down, please get one. Whether it's the original one or one of these two, please get it. You're going to enjoy it either way. The paints are great. The posability is really damn good. The sculpt is really good. They're so impressive on the shelf. They even come in cool packaging, but they look great on a shelf. You're gonna enjoy it. They're photogenic. One of the best all-around figures I have ever owned, personally and objectively, but since it's just a repaint this year, I'm being fair to the rest of the figures and leaving them back here in the honorable mention spot. But definitely, please, for yourself, track one down. You will enjoy it, even if you're not a Turtles fan. It's a really, really cool figure. Another honorable mention I wanted to throw in here is the Miles Morales Marvel Legends Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse figure. Yes, it's very plasticky and it does have some issues here and there, but for Marvel Legends, this is an excellent, excellent release, and they pretty much were firing on all cylinders with this release, and I don't think anybody's going to really have any problems with it. So I wanted to include it. I don't think it has too many problems for me to put it higher on the list, but it is worth mentioning. This is the kind of thing that Hasbro should be doing on a regular basis for basically every release. A lot of new parts, a lot of good detail work. It's a fun figure, but it does have its fair share of problems. Coming in at number 10, we have the new Transformers Beast Wars Kingdom War for Cybertron, whichever batch of figures they're coming out in. It's a whole wave of Beast Wars, basically, or they're mixed in with other stuff. Anyway, they are excellent for the price. Now, you can get the Netflix versions with a little bit more accurate paint details, or you can just get the regular versions. But for the price, I don't think anybody will argue that these Beast Wars figures are some of the best Transformers anybody has ever released. Again, for the price. They're not better than Masterpiece figures, but those cost $300. These cost $20. I don't know how they're doing it, frankly. They have really good sculpts. The transformations are nice. They're so accurate. They're just all around really solid releases. I couldn't be happier with this line for the price point. And if you're collecting the non-Beast Wars figures, then you're even better off because there's tons of those too that are really good. So some of the best Transformers figures ever released per dollar. In at number 9, we have particularly the modular armor Iron Man, but you can also include the stealth if you want to. It's kind of the same figure, just blue, but this is one of Hasbro's best takes on Iron Man. It's really, really good. I gotta be honest, the only reason I didn't put him higher up on the list is he's missing a few details that even the artwork on the box shows, and those are kind of like important details for me. And also, his legs don't close as much as I would like them to. I know that's a silly thing, but when you're Iron Man, you have to be able to put yourself in a flight pose, and his legs don't do that. You can't close his feet down together, so that's a problem. But otherwise, it's an excellent release. Coming in at number 8, we have NECA's Mondo Gecko, and honestly, you could pick pretty much any of the cartoon Turtles figures from NECA this year. They've done a really good job, but there are two that stood out, and I'm actually going to include them both in this part right here. But Mondo Gecko is the main one because he does pose so well for the aesthetic that they're going for, and he looks just about perfect. He's probably the best executed from the aesthetic perspective, and also from an articulation perspective. All these figures always have good accessories, but this guy can actually pose pretty well too. Now, in addition to Mondo Gecko, I think they had one other standout release that really is a cut above the rest, and that is Chrome Dome. He's humongous, he's super fun to handle because of the size, that's what she said, but also he's got a really cool paint job. His particular black and white color scheme makes him look excellent in this cell shaded look. And he does pose really well. There is a bit of a hiccup in the hips as far as posability, but this guy's going to pose as well as most standard action figures, yet have this incredible cartoon aesthetic that NECA's basically perfected at this point. Now, yeah, you could do like Ground Chuck or some of the other characters. They've all been really good this year, but these two stand out, so they made the list, and I definitely recommend them. Coming in at number 7, we have Storm Collectibles E Honda. Now this guy has one downside, and I'll mention that first just to get it out of the way. He doesn't pose as well as I would like given the hefty nature of his stature, but other than that, I don't think Storm could have done a better job with this guy. It is like a picture perfect version of Honda. It's the Street Fighter V version, a classic color scheme if you want to call it that, classic outfit. Or skin, whatever. It just looks great. It's like the best Honda figure ever, and of course that's not saying much because there aren't a ton, but it takes me right back to the Soda Toys Street Fighter figures. It has that sort of, I don't know, it has a little bit of soul put into it. It feels just like whoever made it really wanted to capture the spirit of the character, and I feel like they did that perfectly, and it does pose well enough that I enjoy it. You know, it just could be a little bit better, and that's why he's not higher on the list, but sculpts, paints, posability, accessories, I'm very, very pleased with this Honda. Coming in at number 6, we have the 1000 Toys Master Chief. Now this thing is a really well done figure. It's incredibly well engineered. It has a couple drawbacks in that the shoulders are kind of wonky until you pose them and then you can't tell so much. But the reason this guy's not higher on the list, despite how awesome he is he's really expensive. It's like $130, $150 depending on where you get it. And for a 7 1/4 inch or 7 1/8 inch figure, that's a pretty hefty price point. So you shouldn't really have to talk about any downsides. And that's one of the things, like, I like to talk about downsides in the top 10 list because that's how these things are being differentiated. If they were just all awesome, I couldn't make an ordered list. But this guy is great. He doesn't have a chrome visor, so that's a little bit of a nick, and then those shoulders could be a lot better, but he still does pose really well, and he is just covered with great detail, so definitely recommend it for all you Halo fans out there. Coming in at number 5, we have the giant-sized Ninja Turtles. I'm going to focus on Donatello in this review because I've only looked at Donatello and Raph, and I haven't uploaded the Raph video yet, but they're the same figure. We are going to get the other two, I presume. But yeah, these guys are excellent for giant-sized NECA turtles. They're even better than the small ones. Like, you would think the bigger the figure, the more problematic the joints are. No, these things pose really well. They're well-balanced. They have really good accessories. They're painted well. There's not a whole lot I could ask for them to change on these guys. Like, I can't even think of anything off the top of my head right now. Other than, it's like solid painted parts, which is good, but they are prone to scratching. Like if you drop one, you're going to chip the nose or something, but they look fantastic because of that paint, so I can't really fault them for it. Really, really good figures. Coming in at number 4, we have the SH Figuarts Raditz. I stand by this when I say it is easily one of the top 3 most screen-accurate releases from SH Figuarts for Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z. He does have a few issues with his balancing, and some paint could be better on him, and he definitely could look nicer with more paint, but still, this is easily one of the best releases. He poses really well and is very accurate. I love that they went full go on that hair because it's so big and could be a problem, and that they really did a good job with it. Like, he's not hard to balance, really. Obviously, you have to be cognizant of the weight, but it's a good release. It's one of my favorites. I don't really care about Raditz as a character, but can't argue it. He's up there with, like, I don't know, Cooler or Super Boo as one of the best. I would say, though, there are a couple that are better this year, which I would say are coming in at number 3. The Ginyu Force. Not all of them came out this year, but 2 of them did, and 2 of them stand out to me as excellent releases, and they're basically like the same thing as Raditz, but a little bit easier to pose because they don't have the hair thing, so I wanted to put them in a different spot. I'm going to talk about Raycoon first, and he poses really well. Like, he's got all of the poses you would want him to be able to do. Really good paint job. He's screen accurate. There's nothing more I would want from this guy, again, other than, as always, more paint. That's always a good thing. But the one that I think stands out just a little bit more than Raycoon, again, though he's almost the exact same figure on paper, it's Birder. He's a little bit better to pose, a little bit more shelf appeal, and he comes with another character. So that's a better release in my book, but still, these guys are excellent. Technically, I could have put them all as one spot, including Raditz, but I wanted to separate them. These guys are just great. If you're into Dragon Ball figures or just high-quality figures and you like the character designs, there's no reason to hesitate. These are extremely well-executed figures. I really don't have any gripes other than throw some more paint at them. And of course, I'd rather have Goldo as a standalone, but that's not about this. This guy gets a Goldo accessory, so that's a bonus point for him. Coming in at number 2, I'm gonna put this here, even though I'm a little bit torn about it. It's NECA's Goliath. Now, this thing is an excellent figure. It's a great release. It is held back by one thing, and that is the size of the wings and the lack of posability. And there's not a lot NECA could have done about that, so I'm not really holding them accountable as it being a negative. I do think we need alternate wing accessories, which we will be getting. However, they're not here, so I'm a little bit torn. Like, should he have been farther back on the list because he's so hard to get on a shelf? I don't know. I'm gonna say no, just because he is what he is, and he's supposed to have big wings. And they did a really good job with this release. It poses well, it looks good. There's a few issues here and there, but what figure doesn't have that? It's an excellent release. If you're at all interested in gargoyles or just the look of this character, go ahead and pick it up. You're gonna enjoy it, and there will be wings coming down the road. If the giant open wings are a problem for you, you'll have at least one alternative in the future. Hopefully we get one that's like not the cape, that's kind of like just in between being fully opened and draped and everything like that. So hopefully we get that, but still, as it is, it's a really fun figure. And then finally, coming in at number 1, we have the SH Figure Arts Final Form Cooler. I don't think they could have made this figure any better at a reasonable price point. Like, it needs more paint to make it better, and it already has loads of paint, so I'm not faulting them for that at all. If you look at his purpley parts, he's covered in shading, and that makes the figure come to life so much more than you normally see. It's sculpted incredibly well, it's painted incredibly well, it poses incredibly well. I couldn't be happier with this figure if he didn't have such a chunky tail. His tail is a little bit chunky, but that's really the biggest gripe. It's an excellent release, easily one of the best. I think it fights with Super Boo as the number 1 best figure in the line, so that should tell you how good it is. Alright guys, there it is. That's my top 10 list for 2021. Let me know what you thought about it in the comment section below. Please, again, feel free to leave your list down there. We'll talk about that too. And if you haven't subscribed, you might want to. I have new videos almost every single day, and thousands already on the channel, so make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.